Let's get this low-resolution initial round of formatting complete here. We're going to go after, obviously, the news feed area here. So let's go and get the heavy lifting done here. So head back over to your external style sheet. And once again, I'm going to go and look for news. And I'm going to go and create some rules underneath this guy. Underneath and indented slightly. So just as before, I'm going to do the news H2, followed by his squiggly brackets or curly brackets. And I'm going to set my font size here. We'll use 120%. Again, I hope you don't mind me kind of increasing the pace here, speeding it up here. I'm anxious to get to the good stuff. I'm going to throw some spacing onto the bottom of this guy of just 5 pixels, something like this. And I'm just going to keep on moving here. I hope that's all right. The magic of video is that you can, of course, pause it whenever you like. All right, so there's the News H2, and then you just saw me there. I just coded in the hyperlink for the H2 inside News as well with his curly brackets. I want to get rid of his underline, so text decoration. And, of course, I'm going to remove the text decoration, so text decoration none. Let's see here. Let's also set his color as well. We've set a color twice already, so we may as well be consistent here with our different layouts. So color, RGB. And then I had used that red color earlier on. So let's go ahead and use the same red color. That was 189, 30, and 44. Those were the RGB color values for the red that we had used. All right, wonderful stuff. Let's see here. I'm going to go and... Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to throw a bit of a curveball at you, but I'll save the curveball for just a moment here. I'm going to leave you in anticipation here. I just thought of something. But what I'm going to do next is I'm going to do it's the news meta that we have next. So I'm going to do news meta. I'm trying to do this in the same order that we had done the other two media query layouts. So news meta, and then let's see. I'm going to set the font size here to 70%. So again, this is the smaller text underneath the placeholder text that you and I had inserted. I'm going to do some spacing on top, so margin hyphen top, and I'll use 5 pixels for that. And let's float this guy again onto the right. We had done this, of course, earlier on as well with our other layouts. And let's set a font as well. And we'll use Verdana, of course. Great. There we are. And then the last rule that I'm going to create here before I throw the curveball at you is going to be the news meta hyperlink. So news meta and then A, and then our curly brackets. And once again, I'll set the color to be that red that we had been using previously. So once again, 189 and then 30 and then 44, of course. All right, I think that should pretty much do it. Oh, the other thing we should do... Okay, there's 2 things now that I have in mind that I want to show you. I'm just going to go and refresh my browser here quickly. Okay, so this is how things are looking in the low-resolution layout here for the news feed. So it looks pretty good, and things are really coming together, which is nice. But the first thing that I thought of is we should increase the amount of space below each of our news items, because again, we're getting this content winding up inside the footer. We've seen this several times already. So let's go and look after that. That's going to be some margin bottom on the article itself. Once again, I don't mean to slow things down here, but make sure you're in the right media query. So this is one of the challenges of working with media queries. And it only gets more complex if you're working with more than, say, 3 media queries. It gets more and more and more complex. So make sure you're in the right spot. Make sure you're looking at article. And I'm going to throw on some margin bottom. Now, I might increase this. I might try, say, margin bottom 60. I might give that a try and check the result. There we go, something like that. But again, being on a mobile device, maybe I want to increase that space a little bit more just for readability, that sort of thing. I'll leave that up to you. And the other thing that I wanted to bounce off of you, this is the other curveball that I wanted to throw at you, is the actual paragraphs inside the news feed. Now, I guess we could leave them the way that they are, but again, I'm thinking readability. So what I think I'll do is I think I'll increase the amount of leading between the lines of text here inside these paragraphs. So, of course, we don't call it leading in CSS. We call it line height. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to head back to the external style sheet. I'm going to make sure that I'm inside the low resolution media query. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to drop my cursor just after the compound rule that reads news H2A. So I'm going to find that guy's closing curly bracket. I'm just going to hit enter. And here's what I'm going to type in. I'm going to type in .news space P. So a paragraph inside the news class rule or div. Now, the only reason why I stuck this guy here, I could have put him down underneath the news meta A, but what I try to do, this is just a personal thing, maybe it's kind of a trick that I use for myself, is I try to put things in order. So the hyperlink comes after the H2, or in other words, the H2 hyperlink comes after the H2 comes after the news, and so on, the meta A, and so on. So I try to put things in the same order that they appear inside the browser. Anyway, what I'm going to do here, more importantly, is I'm going to go line-height on this guy. Let's see, I could try maybe 150%, or maybe we'll wind up using a higher value. Let's go back and refresh and see what we get. There we go, something like that. That looks okay. Or, again, you might want to monkey here a little bit and come back and try increasing this value, maybe 160 or 170 or something like this. This is the nice thing, of course, with CSS, is we can experiment and try some different values until we have everything sitting the way we want. So there we go. There's the news feed area complete. You know what I'm going to do is, I really want to get into graphics. We still have the footer area here, though. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave this last footer area up to you. What I'm going to do is I'm basically going to repeat what I've done twice already. I'm going to reduce down the font size, and I'm also going to use Verdana for this area here. So if you want to do that on your own, go for it. I'm going to do it on my own as well. And then when you're ready to move on, when you're ready to jump into graphics, I will catch up with you and we'll get to work there.